people to join.
Hola, Zedu.
Today. I just wanted to welcome everyone and say thank you for joining us for the Anti-Incineration Café. This is a joint effort between the Africa and Latin American team of the Global Alliance for Incinerator Alternative. The session will be recorded and uploaded to GAIA's YouTube page afterwards, so we can share the learnings from this discussion with more people. We will also share the presentation slides after the session. I also wanted to say that we are providing interpretation in 4 languages: English, French, and Spanish and Portuguese. And you can see here that you can choose how to choose interpretation. So please go to your preferred language. And yeah, and as I said before, as we're waiting for people to arrive, please take this time to introduce yourself. You can type into the chat box your name, country you are based in, and the name of your organization. Great. Oi, Kalen. Hi. Hi, everyone. Oh, we got chicos with us. Hello.
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 Hola.
Hola, hola a todos hoy. Bonjour.
Hola.
Boa tarde. Bom dia.
Bom dia.
Bom dia.
Hola, Hamza. Salam.
Hello, everyone. Hi.
We have lots of languages in this call.
Yeah, we have a lot of languages, right?
Buenos días, sí, desde Costa Rica. Hola.
Hola, Marlene.
Hola.
Hola, Marlene.
Hola.
Okay, so I will move up to the agenda. So both teams of like the Africa and Latin American team, we've identified that more and more countries in our regions are facing threats of incinerators. And so members within both regions are seeking guidance on how to fight this reality and what resources we have as GAIA for them. So this workshop aims at providing a resource to support member organizations that intend to carry out anti-incineration campaign work and add into GAIA's library of resources on incineration in Africa and Latin America, and also providing a space for all of our members from both regions to exchange and learn from each other. So we have quite a packed agenda for today. But I wanted to give you a quick overview of what to expect. So we will first take a group photo. So everyone will be invited to turn on their cameras and smile. And then we will have our first presentation will be on incineration and false solutions. We will then have presentations from Tania Mara from Brazil, Keith Roman from South Africa, Alejandra Parra from Chile, and Desmond Alunioa, who will talk about different case studies of either resistance movements or failures of incinerators. You can also look forward to a presentation of a toolkit that the Latin American team has developed, and also all the resources that we have as GAIA to offer to our members. and we will look at a video at the end. So before we get started, if everybody can turn on their cameras, I will stop sharing my screen, and then we can have one big picture as a happy family. Okay. So, hello everyone, join in. Hello Hamsing, hello. So I will go ahead, if you could all smile and take the first picture. There we go. And then I still have to do the second one with everyone. Hi, Anna. Okay, and so great. I see we have people from everywhere. We have Mozambique, we have Costa Rica, South Africa. So I'm glad that we're all here. I will pass it on to, yeah, okay, for translation, hay traducción in both, okay. I see people asking about translation in the chat. I just want to, if anybody can jump in Spanish or Portuguese and just explain how it goes, that would be.
Helen, vai ter tradução ali no Interpretation, tem em português também, que eu acho que é a pergunta dela. Se clicar ali na bolinha, tipo no mundo, tem English, French, Portuguese, Spanish.
So I will just say it in French quickly. Il y a de l'interprétation en français aussi. En bas de votre écran, il y a une petite icône interprétation sur laquelle vous pouvez cliquer et choisir votre langue la langue que vous préférez. Alors c'est soit le français, l'espagnol, le portugais et l'anglais. Okay. So our next presentation will be on incineration and false solutions. It will be led by Waimi. Waimi is based in Nigeria and is part of our Africa team. Waimi, you can go ahead and share your screen.
Thanks, Kenza. Hello, everyone. So glad to have this presentation today, or to share this information with everyone today. I hope you can hear me clearly. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So I'll be speaking today on anti-incineration and false solutions. I'm Waimi Okoti, and I'm the clean energy campaigner for the African team, the GAIA African team. And basically my work entails supporting member organizations in Africa in their fight against incineration proposals in their respective countries. Over the years, many cities or many municipalities in the global south have experienced issues of being approached by companies who build incinerators in Africa or globally, and they always come with this promise that there's a machine that's going to take away your waste and is going to provide electricity to you. And these are two major issues faced by African countries. So it seems like a silver bullet, it seems like what everybody would want. And so it has been attractive to many municipalities in Africa. However, we are going to shed more light into this to see reasons why it is probably not a good solution to our waste issues and our energy issues. So waste to energy, what's a waste to energy facilities? Generally, it's a process that involves the combustion of substances contained in waste materials. It's simply the burning of waste. And as a concept, there are two major types of these processes. First of all, there's the biological waste to energy facility, which involves the treatment of wastes, organic waste with biodigesters, for example, to produce biogas. And secondly, we have the thermal waste to energy facilities. And these facilities, majorly what they're involved in doing is incineration, burning of waste. and they come in different names based on the country or based on the industry projecting these facilities to you. Sometimes they're called refuse, waste to energy, or they're also called plasma arcs and different other names, but they're all incinerators and they burn waste. They're also called plastic to fuel as well. And these incinerators emit a cocktail of different noxious substances into the atmosphere, from greenhouse gases to toxic particles, to acidic gases and heavy metals, and POPs, which are persistent organic pollutants, and majorly dioxins and furans. And these have, like I just said, they emit global greenhouse gases, which causes global warming. So CO2 emitted from incinerators is also a culprit of acidification, which is a big issue when it comes to ocean conservation. And it's also a culprit of photochemical smogs, and it's toxic to plants and animals. And basically, when they tell you incinerators burn away your waste, and it just burns it into the thin air, and you can live happily ever after. Actually, the waste is actually converted to hazardous waste in the form of bottom ash. If you look at this chart by my right, you see a comparative graph between coal power plants and incineration, um, waste incinerators, and you see that if you just compare the amount of carbon dioxide emitted by waste incinerators, is nothing compared to what coal power plants emit. However, there's a big call for the closing down of coal power plants to meet our climate goals. If we could do that for coal power plants, I am of the opinion that we should be doing the same for incinerators, because they will emit more carbon dioxide compared to coal power plants. Incinerators are also involved with a lot of, or they also cause a lot of health impacts. So it's a major public health concern, and there's so many things I could list out here, but I'll just pick out a few. It causes some of the substances that are emitted from the incinerators are responsible for cancers, they're related to cancer, reproductive health, and damage of our kidneys, lungs, and other organs of the body. Also, it also comes with a lot of economic impacts as well. Looking at the chart by my right, you could see that incineration creates the least amount of jobs compared to other ways of managing waste. And also, the next chart also shows that incinerator is the second most expensive way of generating electricity. So if we're looking at it because of electricity, incineration might not be the way to go because it's not cost effective. As a matter of fact, only nuclear power plants are more expensive to build than incinerators. So economically, it also comes with what we call a lock-in effect, whereby the municipality or the government is made to sign a put or pay contract. Basically, this entails that the city has to supply a fixed amount of waste for the contract or pay instead. And most often than not, most cities are not able to meet the waste demands of these facilities, and the city end up being in debt to these companies. As a matter of fact, there's a city in Italy, a few cities in the global north have experienced this whereby incinerator companies sued them. For example, in Italy, they were sued for 13 million euros for not meeting their waste tonnage. Finally, they were able to pay up 15 million euros as fines. If Mikel was here, a member organization in Zimbabwe, they are signing a deal that looks very close to this, whereby they have to meet a particular demand, and also they have to hand over, the company promises to hand over the facility to the government after 25 years. And after 25 years, that's actually the lifespan of the facility. Yeah, waste to energy incinerator plants also come with a lot of social impacts. And one of them approximately is that approximately 8 out of 10 incinerators in the US are sited in majority low-income communities, sometimes community of colors. And these are people who do not have the voices. So they just see it and it happens to them, and they do not have the voice to protest or speak against this social or environmental justice. In Europe and the global north, or also in the US, we've just seen that there's been a pushback on financing or support of waste to energy incinerator facilities. Some of these funds that could have been used for climate initiatives, cleaner initiatives, cannot be used for waste to energy incinerator, as this is not a renewable source of energy. And this is something Africa and I believe Latin America has to learn from, because we see instances where the African Development Bank supports initiatives such as this in Africa. Now, Africa seems to be the new market for the industry, because most decision makers are not aware of the burden or the responsibilities that come with having such facilities in their various municipalities. And this is a picture in Kampala, where a company from Sweden have come to do feasibility studies, and people seem to be happy because it looks like a technology that is going to take away our waste and provide electricity. So this chart here, I'll just quickly explain. It shows Africa about 15 years ago, whereby there was no proposal or no waste to energy incinerator in Africa. But look at now, we have 3 facilities that are functional. Ethiopia, the REPI project, which is known, and we just heard of 2 in Egypt. Now, we also have over 20 more proposals around Africa that are being proposed to be built in Africa. Hopefully, we don't get to see them ever see the light of day. So we're here to say that there's no place for incineration in Africa, as most of our waste is over 50% organic waste, and there's a lack of the ability to regularly monitor stack emissions, and also to understand the ash toxicity. When we see my colleague Desmond speaking about his visit to the REPI incinerator, you will see where the ash was just dumped outside and we had animals around it, which is a very toxic substance to be around. And there's also the lack of technical capacity to test the releases of these facilities. And there's shortage of trained personnel to really understand how to manage this. Also, it comes with a lot of financial constraints. So, and we know most African countries or developing countries are actually burdened by their various budgetary concerns. So incinerator will be something that will just weigh the economy down, and we don't want something like that. So in conclusion, I'd like to say that in the 21st century, there are good ways to manage waste. There are good and eco-friendly ways to manage waste. An incinerator is not one of them. We're not talking of huge machines or high-tech solutions. We're talking of simple technologies. We're talking of better organization, better education, and better industrial designs. And we can start by segregation of our waste at source, and ensure proper door-to-door collection, and encourage composting and anaerobic digestion of organic waste, and also recycle plastics and inorganic waste as well. And also encourage reuse and repair, as this can also provide jobs to most waste pickers and other people in that value chain. And also encourage waste reduction initiatives, such as laws, such as polluter pays principles, and also something to make sure that these polluters, these big companies who produce a lot of plastics, for example, into our atmosphere, are responsible for the plastics or for the waste they produce into our environment. And they too can also, I'll get to that later, but we also encourage, number 6 item here is to build separation facilities in landfills. This will encourage waste pickers to make more money and to sort also at the dump sites, and also encourage more studies of waste management in schools, as this can also show the government that waste to energy incineration is not the way to go, and also encourage better industrial design. So what basically we want to see less packaging, less plastic packaging. We can reduce our packaging. This is also a big issue. And finally, we have a backup landfill. By the time we follow the previous principles I've mentioned here, we find out that we just have about 15% of our wastes being landfilled. So I'd like to say that the issue of waste management is a complex issue, and just burning our waste with one facility cannot solve this issue. But we can take proper steps to encourage a zero waste society, and by so doing, we can ensure that waste management and the environment can work in harmony. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Amy, for your presentation. I just wanted to flag that we will have a question and answer session after after the presentations. So please feel free to either write down your questions on the chat or just keep them for the Q&A session. And so right now, we will move to our colleague from Brazil, and we will hear about the case from Brazil. So let me just share my screen. And with us is Tania Mara from the Coletivo SOS Barueri. And Tania, you can go ahead.
Olá. Posso começar?
Yes, you can.
Opa. Então, saudações sustentáveis a todas e a todos. É com muita alegria que eu estou aqui participando com vocês e muito significativo para nós aqui de Barueri, do Brasil, estarmos numa organização tão importante. Parabenizo aí pela iniciativa do evento e vou falar um pouquinho sobre a nossa ação local aqui na cidade de Barueri. Meu nome é Tania Mara, eu sou do Movieco, é uma organização local, e sou do coletivo SOS Barueri, Saneamento Orientado à Saúde. É um coletivo que debate ações socioambientais aqui na cidade. Eu vou contextualizar um pouquinho o local que nós estamos para vocês entenderem um pouco a dinâmica aqui do movimento, né, de resistência à incineração. Barueri é uma cidade rica, próspera, super próspera, tem uma arrecadação grande, diferentemente de várias outras cidades de Barueri, né? Uma das exceções, assim, né? Ela fica na bacia hidrográfica do Alto Tietê, na região metropolitana de São Paulo, Brasil. A gente, na cidade de aproximadamente 250 mil pessoas, a gente tem uma cooperativa de resíduos, que tem uma parceria com a prefeitura e a gente tem uma cobertura de 100% de coleta seletiva na cidade, e a gente tem essa cobertura, mas a gente fica no índice de material reciclável juntamente com o índice nacional, ou seja, a população não adere muito. A gente tem um domínio político muito grande e uma pressão política também grande, né? E a gente, para vocês terem uma ideia, a cooperativa de resíduos de Barueri é favorável e parceira da incineradora. A ODS Barueri fica neutra nessa discussão. O Ministério Público é favorável publicamente à incineração e a OAB também é favorável à incineração. Então, as pessoas têm um certo receio, né, por suas vidas e também porque todo mundo tem alguma relação econômica com o poder público, o que limita bastante as pessoas de atuarem. Então, a gente tem um grupo pequeno, não muito grande, mas assim de muita resistência para enfrentar essa pressão toda, econômica e política. Bom, em 2011 foi proposta a primeira incineração aqui em Barueri, Em 2012, teve uma audiência pública e tanto o Conselho de Meio Ambiente como em audiência pública, a população rechaçou a ideia e disse não, que não queria, mas houve a licença pelo órgão estadual da CETESB. Depois disso, foi um processo longo nesse período, e com a pandemia, quando iniciou a pandemia, o que era dito é que tinha acabado o processo da incineração e que não haveria mais. Contudo, nós descobrimos que ela tinha sido licenciada aí para uma licença já de instalação, né? Que ela já tinha sido até dada uma licença de instalação que pegou todo mundo de surpresa novamente, e aí foi organizada uma ação popular para toda essa questão com a população que estava meio aí teria mais a incineração. E aí nós retomamos tudo isso novamente e criamos esse coletivo que é formado por pessoas de várias instituições locais e também regionais, e por cidadãos aqui. Nós temos a adesão nesse coletivo de aproximadamente 900 pessoas da comunidade em geral, e temos também essa adesão aí regional e a participação em outros movimentos socioambientais. Nós, como ação aqui do coletivo, nós enviamos aproximadamente 30 e poucos ofícios aos órgãos públicos, Ministério Público Estadual, OAB, secretarias de meio ambiente estadual, apontando o que está errado no processo, né? Inclusive o que fere a legislação ambiental, inclusive sendo inconstitucional. E a gente vem alertando a população e os órgãos públicos para que reveja e cancele essa licença de instalação, e essa licença foi a primeira dada no Brasil. Inclusive, a instalação nesse momento está sendo feita com a licença vencida, mas a gente não está conseguindo enfrentar aí o poder público, e o poder judiciário está com eles, e nós estamos aí nessa luta para conseguir adesão mesmo a esse cancelamento via judicial, e para que seja respeitada a legislação ambiental, que aqui em Barueri não foi. Até muito explícita, uma empresa está fazendo uma instalação, derrubar uma área verde, está lá no local, cuidando do local, preparando o terreno, com uma licença vencida, desde dezembro de 2021. Então, a gente encontrou mais, né, nós aqui localmente, encontramos mais uma colaboração em instituições, como a Aliança Resíduo Zero, o GAIA também tem nos ajudado muito, e a gente está aí partilhando toda essa com as pessoas, né, nacionalmente e internacionalmente, mas estamos na luta, né, contra a incineração, com certeza, e estamos aí também à disposição na luta contra as incinerações no Brasil. No Brasil existem outras várias empresas que, como o colega aí bem destacou, as empresas com esse discurso de geração de energia, eles conseguem convencer as prefeituras, e as prefeituras com uma certa preguiça, né, de procurar soluções sustentáveis, acata e acha super legal e compram a ideia, e implementam com tudo. E nós estamos tentando convencer os órgãos municipais que fecharam, inclusive, um contrato em PPP, né, parceria público-privada. Mas a gente está aqui na resistência. Então, acho que eu já falei por 5 minutos e estou assim aberta a qualquer questionamento, tá? E agradeço imensamente a vocês aí nos acolherem com relação a esse movimento aí e também nos comprometemos a colaborar contra a incineração nas Américas, na África ou no mundo inteiro. Obrigada.
Thank you, Tanya. Obrigada. Yes, I also just wanted to point out that you might have heard a bell sound, and it's just us trying to keep time. So when you hear the first bell, you have about 1 minute to go, and the last bell is almost you are done. So our next presenter is Keith Roman, and Keith Roman will be talking to us about the Darkstein incinerator in South Africa. So Keith, the floor is yours. Keith is from Zero Waste Association of South Africa.
Hi. Hi, everyone. Thank you for inviting me to be part of this fantastic workshop. I was part of several resistance groups in South Africa. The one was the Wellington Association Against Incinerator. The other one was the Drakensberg Environmental Watch, Groundwork, GAIA, and other groups. And we successfully stopped the first large waste incinerator from being built in a tiny farming town of Wellington, South Africa. This incinerator needed about 700 tons per day, but the actual municipality only generated less than 200 tons per day, which meant that the bulk of the waste would have had to be imported. This was the first red flag for us. The second red flag was the fact that the municipality awarded the contract to a private waste company before a feasibility assessment was undertaken. This private contractor's core business was waste transportation. They had no experience in waste to energy plants, which suggests that the private contractor was just a middleman, and that for international waste incinerator lobby groups. So all the parts and the specialist advisors and contractors would have come from overseas. The project would have been funded by the US Trade and Development Agency, which is also an indication that was an international rather than a local initiative. There were several other red flags, but suffice to say that we won the battle based on the weakest link or the most winnable case, coupled with good protest action, of course. The winnable case for us was the focus on the legislative violations of the municipality and the private contractor. We realized that it was generally more difficult and expensive to win a court case based on human rights and environmental pollution issues, especially when the incinerator had not yet been built. After the municipality terminated the waste to energy incinerator project in 2018, we realized that the threat still existed. Lobby groups are constantly busy in Africa promoting their so-called safe and environmental friendly technology. We found that the perfect antidote to incineration is the zero waste circular economy system. When we undertook a waste audit and brand audit, we the audit indicated that at least 85% of waste can be easily and economically be diverted away from landfill and incineration. And if this 85% was diverted from incinerators, then obviously the incinerators would not have been financially viable entities. Hence the reason why the municipality plus their private contractor agreed in their memorandum of understanding to prevent the recycling in that particular area to ensure that this incinerator would have been would have received sufficient input stock. We also found that more than 50% of the total waste generated consisted of organic waste. And this organic waste can, as we know, be easily composted rather than burnt in an incinerator. Composting and recycling, as shown by empirical evidence, can create 200 times more jobs than a landfill system and the linear incinerator system. So the environmental and financial and socioeconomic benefits to the municipality and its communities are quite significant. So I had prepared a slide for this presentation, but for this tour, but due to unstable Wi-Fi, I decided just to talk through it. But I will certainly make the slides available for everyone as well. And I'll leave the rest to the question and answer session later. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Keith, for your insightful presentation. You can definitely send them to us and we will attach them in our post-workshop email with the rest of the slides. Thank you. We will now hear from Alejandra Parra from the Red de Acción por los Derechos Ambientales, or the Environmental Rights Network for Actions, maybe that's the right translation. And Alejandra, the floor is yours. She will do a presentation on an incinerator in Chile. Alejandra, you can let me know when you would like me to move to the next slide.
Bueno, muchas gracias, Kenza. Buenos días, buenas tardes a todas y todos. Es un agrado para mí estar conversándoles hoy sobre este caso que ocurrió en mi ciudad, en mi región, en la región de la Araucanía, en el sur de Chile. Yo vivo en la ciudad de Temuco, que es la capital de la región, y aquí se planteó instalar un incinerador de basura con recuperación de energía con un proyecto llamado WTE Araucanía. Esto producto del cierre del vertedero municipal que estuvo funcionando por más de 20 años en un sector rural de la comuna, afectando a más de 30 comunidades mapuche. El pueblo mapuche es el pueblo indígena originario de esta parte del sur de Chile. Y en la región de la Araucanía existe el fenómeno del racismo ambiental, porque la mayor parte de los vertederos municipales de la región se instalaron en comunidades mapuche que tienen no más del 15% de la superficie del territorio de la región en sus manos. Esta situación de racismo ambiental fue denunciada por la RADA y por las comunidades afectadas, y esto llevó entonces a que se cerrara el vertedero municipal de Temuco y que la municipalidad abriera un proceso de licitación para un nuevo sistema de disposición final de la basura, que se lo adjudicó esta empresa llamada WTE Araucanía. Esto fue el año 2016, y cuando ingresó por primera vez este proyecto a el sistema de evaluación de impacto ambiental. Inmediatamente nosotras y nosotros desde la Rada nos pusimos en acción para comenzar a informar a la ciudadanía sobre el proyecto y los peligros que presenta para la salud ambiental y la salud de las personas. Entonces allí en las fotografías ustedes pueden ver algunas imágenes de algunas de las muchas reuniones que hicimos para informar al público sobre la existencia de este proyecto, sus detalles, las emisiones que generaría, los impactos de esto en la salud de las personas, en la salud del ambiente. También comenzamos a desarrollar nuestro propio material respecto del proyecto y, por ejemplo, arriba a la derecha pueden ver un mapa que elaboramos donde se muestra la localización del proyecto y las comunidades mapuche que se verían afectadas por la contaminación del aire, en este caso. Y también desarrollamos ese volante que está abajo a la derecha con los mitos de la incineración y lo que en verdad sucede con esta actividad. La siguiente, por favor. La siguiente diapositiva. Ahí hay otra muestra de material que desarrollamos para informar. El afiche de la izquierda muestra la historia cronológicamente contada de este proyecto y también luego fuimos desarrollando formas de promover la estrategia basura cero para visibilizar que la incineración de basura no es la única opción y que de hecho es la peor opción que se puede considerar y que la mejor opción es la implementación de la estrategia basura cero. Y allí desarrollamos 2 seminarios internacionales sobre basura cero, donde trajimos a Temuco gente de Europa, de Estados Unidos, para contarnos cómo se ha implementado la estrategia basura cero en otras regiones del mundo y cómo se lucha también contra la incineración en el norte global. La siguiente, por favor. También luego de informar a la ciudadanía sobre los problemas, los peligros de la incineración de basura, hicimos jornadas en donde promovimos la participación de la ciudadanía en el proceso de evaluación ambiental, especialmente en la etapa de participación ciudadana de la evaluación ambiental del proyecto, donde recopilamos más de 16.000 observaciones ciudadanas en contra del proyecto en 2 ocasiones, en el año 2017 y luego en el año 2019, y entregamos esas observaciones ciudadanas al servicio de evaluación ambiental a través de marchas que ustedes pueden ver ahí, las fotos de la primera marcha, la foto de arriba a la derecha y de la segunda del año 2019 abajo a la derecha. Y ahí también hay imágenes abajo a la izquierda de cuando entregamos, una de las veces que entregamos estas observaciones formalmente al Servicio de Evaluación Ambiental y otras gestiones que hemos estado desarrollando permanentemente con las comunidades mapuche que se verían afectadas y con organizaciones ciudadanas también de la ciudad de Temuco y la comuna de Lautaro, donde se quería instalar el proyecto. La siguiente, por favor. Y finalmente este proyecto fue votado en marzo de este año y allí pueden ver algunas imágenes arriba de la sesión en la que se votó. Nosotras desde la Rada participamos en esa sesión explicando las falencias del proyecto, por qué debía ser rechazado, y finalmente la Comisión Evaluadora Ambiental decidió rechazar este proyecto, así es que en este momento no tiene permiso para evaluarse. Y abajo a la izquierda pueden ver una imagen de la celebración con las comunidades mapuche que hicimos para celebrar el rechazo del proyecto, que en este momento la empresa se encuentra reclamando a través de procesos administrativos están intentando lograr que se apruebe desde el nivel central, así es que seguimos con las gestiones para que este proyecto siga encontrándose rechazado en el sistema de evaluación de impacto ambiental de Chile, y la imagen de abajo a la derecha es de la segunda marcha que realizamos el año 2019, que contiene un mensaje tanto en mapuzungún, el idioma del pueblo mapuche, como en castellano, que dice: viento limpio, agua limpia, con aire limpio vive el corazón. Y con ese mensaje me quiero despedir. Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias, Ale. We will now move on to our case study for Ethiopia. This one will be a little bit different because the incinerator has been built. And so Desmond Alunyoa from the GAIA Africa team will be leading this presentation. Desmond, you can let me know when you want me to go into the next slide. And also, I just want to remind everyone that if you have any questions, we will have Q&A sessions right after this, whether it be to the panelists or amongst yourselves. So Desmond, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Kenza. Hi, everyone. So we've listened to very much inspiring stories of fighting against incinerators. And I think that what I'm coming to talk about is an incinerator plant that was built in Ethiopia, in the capital. And I consider this like a best fit case study. And I think along the way, you will understand why. Next. So this is the plant. And it is called the Repi incinerator plant, and it is situated in Addis Ababa, right at the center. Also, where it is situated is one of the biggest, largest waste dumps in the city. This waste dump was there in the past decade. It kept growing and growing, of course, because consumerism increased and population increased, and it started engulfing the city. So just like every other country in Global South, there's the need for them to find a solution. And as we all heard from the very beginning, there are so many suggestions for waste to energy, and they always see this as one of the quickest solutions. Next, please. Now, this is the space upon which this waste dump is, and it is a very wide space, over 257 square kilometers. So that's a very big site. Now, to give you an understanding of how this become a best fit situation, is that the Ethiopian government was having this struggle, and people have to keep burning the waste to make space at the dump site for more waste to come in. And then there's the need for them to find another methodology to handle this. But then this became a best case because of the structure of the whole thing. So we have the main leading company that is leading the incinerating plant is Cambridge Industries Limited, which is an investor group. So they come in with a business approach, suggesting to you how you can make a strong business model that will run by itself in a matter of a year. The money was sponsored by the Ethiopian government itself. And then there was a third person, and this third person was CNEC, which is Chinese National Electric Engineering Company. So they have been producing equipment for waste to energy plants for a lot of years. So they sort of understand how to get durable equipment and also how to get affordable equipment for this. So you stand in a position to actually believe that this could be a good deal. And then there is a fourth party in the consortium, and this fourth party is Rambo Denmark. They come in with expertise from running incinerators in Europe. Of course, there is incinerator in Denmark. And I think in Europe, that's also the most popular one. So they come in with such an experience to advise. So this comes strongly for any government that is still not aware of the bad effect of waste to energy plant. And you have the likelihood of actually thinking that this is going to be a savior. So this whole process started in 2014, and then along the way in 2017, there was an unfortunate landslide at this dump site in Ethiopia. So government got more pressure and they had to just take advantage of this thing that was in process and quickly put the waste to energy plant and launch it in the next year into operation. Next. Now it is in operation, but when we visited this city to make some consultation, informal consultations with people who are not experts, with people who are experts who are supposed to know better, and there was a general consensus that there had not been proper public consultation as to even people who are living near this whole thing in the city. They are not properly informed and they are not properly consulted. There wasn't so much of a lot of documents, publications out there show there wasn't so much of environmental impact assessment. Even if there was, it was not published for the people and it was not properly communicated. And then also there's a whole lack of transparency in the process. So even though this seemed to be like a very, the first time that you would have national government themselves sponsoring and having so many parties taking care of all other sectors, there's still this lack of transparency. So you don't know what to really think of. And worst of it is that several years down the lane, this incinerator is not even able to produce as half as what was promised. So the beginning was that this incinerator would be producing 50 megawatts a year into the national grid. And records show today that it's producing merely 10 megawatts. And even that, it doesn't operate continuously. I personally visited this site and I realized that when I spoke with a lot of waste pickers who work within this facility, it operates, they don't even know how many it doesn't have a number of months that it comes. There's no regular schedule that it comes. It operates as and when it needs to just operate. And that is an indication that this is not an ideal solution for the waste you are producing, because the whole place is still huge piles of waste, but the plant is there and it is not able to produce. A lot of statistics will show you that the waste profile of the city itself, it does not fit in any way for a waste to energy plant, but they are now finding themselves in a situation where you have nothing, no way out because it is already there. What you are seeing over there at the far distance is one of the trucks coming to pour the bottom ash of the incinerator. And you can see waste pickers standing there, vulnerable groups who do not have the capacity to relocate themselves to any part of the world. And that is just the bottom ash that we are seeing. We do not see the gas emissions. We do not see anything apart from this. And you see it's poured right in front of human beings. And that is definitely an environmental justice issue. So the whole conclusion on the Ethiopia case study is that we are still gathering much more information, but we do not have a lot of data on, for example, M&E publications are not out there from the facility or the managers or the consultants explaining how far this has fared. And it's been operating fully since 2018. So that also gives a lot of concerns for us and also for the citizenry that if it is actually doing well, why are we still in the dark about this? But to give you a very brief summary, Ethiopia actually have the infrastructure best fit for zero waste practices because they have a lot of young people who are using trolleys and carriers and going from house to house to pick waste. These are people you can leverage to improve segregation at homes. They are a farming community. They will make good use of segregated waste by way of composting and whatever the circular economy tracks can improve for materials in transition. Unfortunately, the government got consumed by these fancy words as waste to energy, and now this is where we are. Thank you, Kenzo.
Thank you, Desmond. Thank you for closing this part of the workshop. I think we have now seen cases of resistance, and also we chose to put the Ethiopia case at the end because it shows what happens when a proposal goes through and we do get an incinerator in a city like that resembles maybe our cities. So now I will open the floor to questions, preguntas, des questions. I think I will stop sharing my screen so that we can all see each other. And please feel free to raise your hand. And I see a question here from Cecilia Bianco, consulta para Desmond. ¿Hay alguna posibilidad que ese incinerador se ofrezca como una solución para los residuos de Europa? So I guess you can get the translation already, or Desmond? So the question is
I had only part of it. Can you take the question again, please?
Are there possibilities that this incinerator offers solutions for waste coming from Europe?
Well, I do not have enough data to point waste coming from Europe to Ethiopia. So I would say this was purposefully built to solve problems or waste that is being generated by the city. However, the involvement of the Danish group is based on the fact that they are having more like experience in running incinerators, and there's one that is in Denmark, and it is not completely the cleanest one as well. But then this also sends a message that there are different levels of power and regulatory strengthening, and you can't compare Denmark to Ethiopia, or you cannot compare Europe to Ethiopia. For example, perhaps the Danish one would have several stages of filtering, and they can enforce that. Whereas in Ethiopia, they have subscribed to so many national regulations on air pollution and toxic control. However, it is different from having it in the books as against actually enforcing such regulations.
Thank you, Desmond. Chakon, would you like to ask your question or comment?
Marlene, si quieres hacer tu pregunta en voz alta.
Sí, disculpe. Era para Etiopía. Etiopía, ¿verdad? Fue el compañero, el último. Que me quedé viendo la imagen y vi sobre los recuperadores que están cerca. Mi pregunta es, ¿qué papel juegan ahora todos los recuperadores? Y él decía que hay unos que están ahí, pero ¿qué ha pasado con ellos? ¿Se incentivó? ¿Tuvieron que desplazarse? Y también, ¿qué porcentaje me gustaría saber? Por ser otra cultura completamente, saber qué porcentaje hay en hombres y mujeres en Etiopía en el tema del reciclaje. Eso es una pregunta, digamos, para Etiopía. Pero una pregunta general es que creo que sería bueno nosotros, o no sé si ya se ha hecho, todos los países buscar dentro de la Unión Médica tener, digamos, Ministerio de Salud o los médicos en general aliados con nosotros para justificar el impacto directamente en la salud por medio de los incineradores. pero habría que hacer una alianza directamente con médicos o la unión médica de cada país, a ver, darles una presentación y ver si ellos nos acuerparían en las incidencias y en la protesta hacia la no incineración. Esas dos cosas, no sé si estoy ahí. ¿O hay alguna duda ahí?
Gracias, Marlene. Yo la traduje. Esperemos ahora que Desmond pueda responder.
Ok, gracias.
Yes, thank you for your question. So first of all, there's been this natural, involuntary, or unconscious resistance on this side. So what happened is that the plant is planted or built on the biggest waste dam. And these waste pickers had been there from generations. And that's practically home for some people. And some also live nearby, and they come there and then they go. So they come to build the plant. However, the waste pickers still have to live where they come from, and I don't have any information, for example, concerning the waste pickers being sacked. But of course, the area where it has been captured for the plant and the area where the waste is supposed to dump, you can no longer operate there. And when I got there, there was, of course, security guiding almost most of the parts of it. But also because the waste to energy plant could not deliver even quarter of what it promised, then there's still so much waste. And so even though this security might be there to ensure that these guys are not operating, the waste pickers are not operating, you cannot sack because you are not able to deal with the waste. And so you just have to keep quiet and allow them to operate. So I saw so many waste pickers still there rushing in every time a waste truck comes from the city. And in terms of percentage wise, I do not collect statistics around the percentage of men and women, but I also observed so many youngsters there, people that were as young as 5-year-old, up to people that are as old as I spoke with one woman, and she was in the range of 70 going to 80. So a very wide diversity of groups that are there. And there are also a lot of young guys there as well. I spoke with a lot of young boys who were also there, and this is practically where they grew up from. So I would imagine that based on observation, we have more women there, but I don't know what the percentages are.
Gracias. Gracias, Delmo.
And Marielle, you had a general question too. No? Okay. Any other questions?
Posso responder sobre saúde rapidinho?
Uhum.
Então, nós temos no Brasil uma política pública de promoção de saúde, que é signatária de um tratado internacional de promoção de saúde, né, de quais vários países também são signatários. E aqui é bem definida e tem total respaldo jurídico para que as pessoas tenham participação para promoverem sua saúde, o que a incineração viria contrário a essa política pública, né? E, então, é muito bem colocada aí pela colega sobre a questão da saúde. Eu penso que temos sim que nos organizarmos aí, articularmos sim com todo o pessoal da área da saúde. Eu trabalho com meio ambiente e saúde, inclusive com educação para a promoção da saúde também, com terapias naturais, e assim, acredito muito nesse apelo aí à saúde, tá certo?
Thank you, Tanya. I think that's a great observation, and maybe.
Ok, sí, porque yo diría en toda la rama, la geriatría, la pediatría y la medicina general.
Okay. And
okay. Gracias.
And Mauro, you have a question?
Bom dia a todos e parabéns aí pela iniciativa de vocês se unirem, não somente aqui no Brasil, como em outros países também. Eu sugiro, né, isso aí eu já venho, a Tânia já me conhece um pouquinho, sabe da nossa luta aqui em Barueri, que não é somente na parte dessa iniciativa que nós temos aqui de falar contra essa incineradora aqui em Barueri, mas também como todas as outras áreas, né, que ela sabe do meu trabalho aqui. E eu sugiro a todos aí, não só aqui do Brasil, que nós tenhamos uma força, né, de unir, não somente nós aqui, né, nós que estamos aqui nesse grupo, mas em pessoas de todos os países que se unirem para esse mesmo contexto aí, nessa luta contra quem está vindo inserir esse tipo de trabalho que não é legal, né? Essa incineradora no Brasil aqui, principalmente aqui na nossa cidade de Barueri. E eu venho só sugerir a todos aí que para que esse grupo ele cresça, né? Que eu vi aí o número que são 900 pessoas aqui em Barueri, aqui não sei se é no Brasil, aqui em Barueri, que a Tânia falou, mas nós temos que levar esse conhecimento para as escolas, né? Aqui em Barueri começou agora em 2022 o projeto para como que falam, um projeto ambiental nas escolas. Aqui nós temos 110 escolas aqui em Barueri, e agora, em 2022, que foi inserido um projeto de educação ambiental. Então, como o Brasil já tem mais de 500 anos, isso aí já deveria ter desde o início. Mas é necessário nós levarmos esse conhecimento através de todo tipo de meio de comunicação para as crianças na pré-escola, nas escolas regulares e também, se possível, depois nas faculdades, porque nós estamos vendo aí a iniciativa de pessoas que não estão lá dentro no poder. São nós que estamos aqui fora que temos essa iniciativa para levar esse conhecimento. Então, esse conhecimento ele deveria estar vindo de quem está no poder, não de nós. Mas, graças a Deus, aí tem vocês, né, para poder estar fazendo isso, né? E eu fico feliz aí por estar participando aqui da reunião e espero que essa sugestão venha poder fazer um efeito maior aí, não só aqui no Brasil, também nos outros países aí. Eu agradeço a todos vocês aí pela participação e fico feliz por estar fazendo parte disso aqui, tá bom? Muito obrigado a todos.
Thank you, Mauro. I will take one more question from Miguel before we move on to the next part. The next part is actually material to raise awareness. Unfortunately, it's not maybe adequate for students, but maybe that's something we can work on in the future. And Ronald, I'm really sorry, but we have to move on. So I will take a question from Miguel and maybe you can write your question or comment. Miguel, the floor is yours. Or
Hello?
yes.
Conseguem me escutar?
Yes.
Ok. Eu sou Miguel, né? Eu sou Miguel e sou aqui de Moçambique e queria falar um pouco sobre as apresentações que estiveram aí a falar. Eu vim há pouco tempo aqui para Moçambique, eu vivi muito tempo no Brasil a fazer o meu doutoramento em urbanismo E de lá eu tive contato com a questão da gestão de lixo. E quando eu volto para Moçambique, e eu coloco essa situação da incineradora, né, como um problema. No entanto, na cidade onde eu moro, e o país no geral, entende a incineradora como uma solução para resolver o problema de lixo, ok? E eu cheguei a falar com o presidente do município, o da prefeitura, que podemos buscar outras soluções fora da incineração, porque é tanto dinheiro que vai se gastar para se colocar uma incineradora na cidade no qual eu vivo, que é uma cidade tão grande em relação ao país. E foi triste ouvir isso de um presidente ou um prefeito, que essa é a melhor solução que nós temos para resolver o problema de lixo. E aí eu fiquei muito frustrado com uma resposta de um dirigente, como disse aí o nosso colega, né, que isto devia ser levado de cima para baixo em termos de conhecimento, né? E eu fui trabalhando com alguns grupos aqui pequenos, né? Eu sou professor na universidade e tentei juntar um grupo para ver como é que podemos também resolver o problema de lixo, e podem acreditar que tantos dirigentes, as associações e algumas organizações da sociedade civil não estão engajados nessa questão de lixo. O que encontrei como solução, eu criei um instituto de pesquisa, um instituto de estudos urbanos e rural, para ver se eu posso buscar a universidade, outras instituições de pesquisa, as escolas, para junto começarmos a discutir o lixo, né? Não só o lixo, mas como uma solução. E a minha pergunta é para esses grupos que estavam aqui a apresentar, as pessoas que estavam aqui a apresentar, principalmente da África. Nós sabemos que os nossos dirigentes estão um pouco se importando com a questão do meio ambiente, né? Isso nós sabemos. Então, o que nós temos que olhar é este conhecimento que o nosso colega falou ali. Como é que podemos trazer esse conhecimento da base, né, para começar a pressionar os políticos? Porque nunca podemos esperar vir de cima para baixo. O político nunca vai dizer isso. E essas experiências que apresentaram aí da Etiópia e tal, não sei como é que foi em termos de conflitos políticos, porque isto cria conflitos políticos, né? E eu acho que se calhar a solução seria começarmos a juntar. Eu fiquei a saber agora do GAIA, né? Não sabia, nunca ouvi falar com um amigo meu do Brasil que disse: Miguel, já que estás a trabalhar com a questão do lixo e tal, incineradora, estou a pedir para assistir essa live. E eu acabei cancelando a minha aula na universidade para assistir isto. Então significa que se tivermos um movimento onde a gente vai se juntar e começar a discutir essa questão a partir da base, da escola, na universidade, talvez aí podemos fazer uma pressão para o governo. Porque as universidades, pelo menos, eu estou a falar de Moçambique, né? Está tudo morto em relação à questão do lixo. Aparece uma pessoa para discutir lixo e tal, mas não vai fundo, é só para ganhar dinheiro. As pessoas estão aqui a lutar do lixo para ver se ganham um pequeno dinheiro e pronto. Trabalha 1 ano, 2 anos, o projeto morre. Então, eu estou a tentar lutar, né, pelo menos na região norte, para ver como é que a gente pode juntar forças, e eu queria muito ter contato dessas pessoas que estavam aqui a apresentar, né?
Yes,
Então, por favor.
Miguel, we will definitely keep contact with you, and we have members in the region, and actually one of our participants here, Anna, is from, she lives in Tanzania, but she's from Brazil. So we will definitely contact you and see how we can work with you. Anna is saying hello. So thank you all. I think we're a little bit past time, so I will pass it on to Magda and Mariela, and they will share with us all the material that we have prepared for you.
Thank you, Kenza.
Right.
Ya. Voy a hacer mi intervención en español. Partiría yo contándoles algún contexto respecto de esta parte de nuestro encuentro relacionada con la caja de herramientas que hemos venido desarrollando en GAIA. Y quisiera partir comentándoles que básicamente la experiencia de decenas de comunidades en el mundo en materia de resistencia a la incineración pone sobre la mesa también un tremendo caudal de información que por años hemos hecho el esfuerzo de sistematizar, reunir y poner a disposición de los miembros y los aliados de GAIA en los más de 20 años que lleva GAIA trabajando en este tema en particular. Y hoy día queremos compartir con ustedes, además de todos estos tremendos testimonios directos que nos parece que tienen un valor esencial, el poder escuchar desde las comunidades cuáles son los desafíos que enfrentan, queremos compartir además con ustedes una caja de herramientas en la que hemos estado trabajando, y que contiene mucha de esa información ordenada y entregada en materiales que esperamos sean de utilidad directa para sus campañas. Y sobre todo para que ustedes cuenten con un acceso lo más fácil y expedito a la enorme cantidad de información que hay disponible, que a veces parece ser muy abrumadora, pero que en realidad está toda ahí, está toda a disposición y bueno, tenemos que buscar los mecanismos, ¿cierto?, para poder llegar a ella de la manera más fácil y expedita posible. Con Mariela vamos a hacer un repaso breve por dichos materiales, particularmente los más frescos, ¿cierto?, los que hemos venido trabajando en estos meses. El primero de ellos, como muestra la diapositiva, son una guía práctica para enfrentar una propuesta de incineración. Luego vamos a comentarles un poquito de los one-pager o volantes, ¿cierto?, que hablan de casos particulares, entre ellos algunos de los que hemos escuchado hoy día, y un enorme repositorio para el que Mariela nos va a dar importantes tips también al final de esta presentación. Entonces, para partir, Mariela me está ayudando ahí con llevar las diapositivas. Vamos a hacer como un repaso, ¿cierto?, en vivo por la guía práctica, que es lo primero de lo que les quiero contar. La guía práctica, que son básicamente 15 pasos para enfrentar una propuesta de incineración. Enfrentar una propuesta de incineración es siempre un desafío, ¿cierto?, que requiere mucha energía, mucha convicción y mucha perseverancia, como lo hemos visto en los testimonios que hemos escuchado hoy día. Y vemos también que quienes promueven la incineración buscan las debilidades del sistema, ¿cierto?, para conseguir los acuerdos sin el respaldo ni el conocimiento de la ciudadanía. Entonces, lo que esta guía práctica hace es apoyar ciertos procesos de defensa territorial contra estos proyectos, haciendo uso de los aprendizajes propios de quienes ya han experimentado estas luchas. El documento propone, ahí lo pueden ver ustedes como vamos pasando, ¿cierto?, por las distintas páginas, un documento súper conciso, pero que propone 15 pasos para luchar contra estas propuestas de incineración, de los que obviamente se pueden escoger los más atingentes y apropiados a cada contexto local, cambiando el orden en el que se desarrollan, usarlos todos si es necesario, solo algunos, todo en función, ¿cierto?, de la realidad en la que ustedes estén desarrollando su campaña. Los pasos son explicados de manera bastante breve y directa, abarcan todo un viaje que pasa por averiguar el estado de avance y la formalización de las propuestas, cuando recién nos enteramos de ellas, ¿cierto?, investigar los detalles de las mismas, todo el proceso de información y empoderamiento de las comunidades afectadas, que es esencial, la importancia de involucrarnos en el proceso de evaluación también, cuando ya está más avanzado, las acciones comunicacionales, que también son clave, la creación de las redes de trabajo, que son muy esenciales y que en eso también desde GAIA siempre tratamos de colaborar para que ello ocurra de la manera más expedita posible. Las estrategias basura cero, poniéndolas siempre también como una alternativa a la ofensiva de las incineradoras, ¿cierto? Y por supuesto la importancia de celebrar cada pequeña y gran victoria en el camino. Así que ahí ustedes cuando tengan acceso a esos materiales, que vamos a estar enviándolos y entregándolos después de esta presentación, van a contar con ese documento que además va a estar traducido en todos los idiomas en los que también estamos teniendo este espacio. Luego están los otros materiales, ¿cierto?, que hemos puesto, que hemos estado trabajando, son los volantes o one-pagers. Por ahora hemos trabajado en estos que ustedes ven ahí listados en la diapositiva, y básicamente contarles que en cada uno de ellos ustedes van a encontrar una breve descripción de las propuestas en curso, entre ellas las que hemos estado escuchando hoy día, ¿cierto? Se entrega un contexto general, ¿cierto?, de la situación, la descripción del proyecto, las consecuencias ambientales y sociales identificadas en relación a ese proyecto, el marco legal en el que ellos están ocurriendo, en el que las amenazas están ocurriendo, y obviamente las estrategias de resistencia local identificadas. Este material creemos que sirve para dejar documentados los casos y a su vez puede ser un útil insumo para otros casos que estén emergiendo en esos países o en otros países donde estén ocurriendo situaciones similares. Los dejo con estos dos primeros y le doy la palabra a Mariela, que les va a hacer un viaje ahí por un documento Excel que también hemos preparado.
Gracias, Magda. Sí, hemos evidentemente recogido las necesidades de insumos y de información y argumentos para que las comunidades locales en América Latina y en África, por supuesto, y en cualquier lugar del mundo puedan tener a mano, porque evidentemente las perspectivas son muchas. Evidentemente, como ya lo vimos a lo largo de la presentación, tenemos aspectos que tienen que ver con la salud humana, con la salud ambiental, ¿cierto? La competencia que también existe con el reciclaje y el compostaje, por ejemplo. Hay muchos aspectos que tienen que ver con el tipo de emisiones que ocurren, con aspectos que tienen que ver con clima, ¿cierto? Por el dióxido de carbono y otros gases de efecto invernadero relacionados, eficiencia energética, etcétera. Y hay otros documentos que son transversales a muchos temas. Entonces, cada vez que teníamos como el llamado de una organización, nos dimos cuenta que era muy necesario en realidad poder ofrecer el menú completo de información para que cada organización sea capaz de escoger el documento que más les sirva para poder argumentar y para poder seguir en esta batalla. Entonces, hemos logrado reunir, gracias a la ayuda de muchas personas, mucha documentación, desde papers científicos, pasando por informes, cartas o declaraciones, sitios web, etc. Yo se los voy a mostrar ahora. Tenemos dos Excel, uno en español mayoritariamente y otro en inglés. Por supuesto que todos pueden acceder a ambos. Y el objetivo es que ustedes puedan a su vez utilizar esta documentación e inclusive cuando tengan acceso a nuevos materiales, puedan compartir este material para que nosotras podamos ir actualizando esta base de datos. Aquí están viendo el Excel en español. Acá abajo, como pueden ver, tenemos la temática de la documentación que hay en cada una de las hojas. Están organizados por salud humana y ambiental, reciclaje y compostaje, temas transversales, aspectos relacionados al clima, aspectos relacionados a economía circular, y en cada uno de ellos van a poder ver organizados por temas, ¿cierto? El mismo color, van a ver su nombre, el tipo de material que es, si es un informe, si es un volante, si es un paper científico, el año de publicación, el link al acceso. Muchas veces son, como es colaborativo, son de otras instituciones, por supuesto, no solamente de GAIA. Tenemos las palabras claves y tenemos una descripción del contenido para que puedan ver de qué se trata, ¿ya? Además, en el Excel de inglés, o sea, perdón, de español, tenemos una pequeña una lista también para quienes necesiten leer en inglés y eventualmente encontrar más material. También lo tenemos con una traducción, con un resumen en español, pero está el acceso al material en inglés, ¿ya? Con respecto al material, al Excel que está realizado en África y que está 100% en inglés, también está organizado bajo las mismas temáticas, como pueden ver acá, clima, pueden ver acá, por ejemplo, aspectos que tienen que ver con el financiamiento o con la salud humana o ambiental. Acá es otra forma de la organización. Están primero en la primera hoja por publicación, luego están por papers científicos, luego por artículos, e inclusive en el caso de la recopilación en inglés, encontramos videos. Entonces, esperamos que este material les sea de utilidad, que lo tengan a mano para echarle mano cuando lo necesiten, y que cuando encuentren información nos la compartan para poder agregarla, y que cuando incluso encuentren un error nos lo hagan saber para tratar de repararlo. Así que eso por nuestra parte. Esperamos que esto sea de utilidad, que sigamos en contacto. Cualquier duda, por supuesto, siempre se pueden acercar a nosotras. Y ahora voy a dejar entonces el tiempo para que vayamos a la siguiente etapa, que es el video.
Thank you, Magda and Mariela. I just want to point out that the one-pagers are already translated into Portuguese, French, Spanish, and English, and we will be working on providing like more access to the Excels. Also, there is one thing I learned about recently is most of the incinerators are funded by international financial institutions, such as the World Bank, the IMF, or like the various banks like this. And some of them, if not most of them, have complaint mechanisms. And through these complaint mechanisms, you can actually like submit a complaint before the project has been, or at the stage of proposal. And so that is also a way to counter a proposal. And I will leave it now to Camila, who will show us a short video.
Is the video in the presentation?
Okay, I can share the.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, bueno, por mientras les cuento que les vamos a presentar un extracto de uno de los 3 videos que tenemos preparados. En este habla Ronald Arrieta de Hacia Basura Cero en Costa Rica, que es un país que está enfrentando 3 amenazas de incineración. Y en este video y en los 2 más que les vamos a compartir en el correo de seguimiento de este webinar, los miembros que aparecen nos cuentan sobre el estado de avance de los proyectos y sus implicancias en la salud ambiental y de las comunidades locales. Probablemente por un tema de tiempo no vamos a alcanzar a ver todo el video, pero es para que tengan una idea del material al que pueden acceder. Y bueno, también aprovecho de recordarles que las puertas de los medios de información de GAIA están siempre disponibles para recibir los testimonios que ustedes tengan y que quieran compartir con nuestra alianza. También están invitados a poder contribuir a esta caja de herramientas que les acaba de compartir Magdalena con Mariela. Y
sorry, Camila.
Do we have the video?
No, I cannot.
No? Okay.
Can
I think I can
share it, please?
I think I can share my screen. Give me a second.
Thank you.
Can you see it? Okay. Well, I apologize in advance for our members that speaks Spanish, Portuguese, and French because we didn't have the subtitles yet, but we will have them. And I have no idea why I speak in English and Spanish at the same time. Lo siento. Ahí va el video.
Can you put your sound on, maybe? Just don't, just, you can unmute yourself and keep the video going. No, don't mute yourself. Okay.
Es que no se escucha, Cami.
Tienes que compartir el sonido cuando compartir la pantalla.
Ah, ya.
Tienes que volver
Pensé que estaba...
y empezar nuevamente.
Me avisan si se escucha.
Ahora sí, Cami.
Pero no se ve.
Soy Ronald Arrieta Calvo del colectivo
pantalla, Cami.
Hacia Basura Cero.
Eso pasa cuando uno es la persona que no presenta. Es que estoy con 2 pantallas, puede ser eso.
It was bound to happen to have a technical problem. It's Zoom.
Yeah, yo soy la persona encargada de la parte técnica y aquí ven lo que pasa. Ok. Ahí. La tercera es la vencida. No. ¿Me confirman?
Perfecto.
Sí.
Sí.
Soy Ronald Arrieta Calvo del colectivo Hacia Basura Cero, con sede en San José, y muchos de nuestros miembros viven en diferentes provincias del interior del país. En Costa Rica tenemos 3 amenazas, una ubicada en el norte del país, más turística, es el municipio de Carrillo. Luego tenemos en el municipio de León Cortés, y en la parte central, donde se abarca el gran área metropolitana con más de 11 municipios. En Carrillo se piensan procesar 180 toneladas, en León Cortés 175 y en el San José 1000 toneladas por día. El proyecto más avanzado es el de Carrillo, ya que cuentan con la viabilidad ambiental, y en este momento la cooperativa de electricidad que va a operar este proyecto está vendiendo acciones para el financiamiento. El otro proyecto de León Cortés, en junio pasado, se resolvió la viabilidad ambiental, pero interpusimos varios recursos de revocatoria con apelación en subsidio, los cuales tienen que ser resueltos primeramente por el Ministerio de Ambiente y Energía, y si resuelven negativamente habrá que pasarlo, elevarlo al contencioso administrativo.
Kenza, I think that's enough for the sake of time.
Yes, we did run out of time. I just want to say thank you all for coming. I want to also thank our interpreters. Obrigada, merci, gracias, muchas gracias a todos. Y we keep in contact. Please, I want you to know, as Mariela mentioned, that we are always here and our doors are open. I hope this was fruitful. I learned a lot myself. And yes, thank you very much. And I'm sorry we ran past time.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody.
Obrigada.
Ciao, everyone.
Chao.
Ciao.
Gusto.